And we're back with episode 23 of Dawg Football Weekly. It's your host, Reed, with the co host.
Russ.
And today, Russ, not a whole lot going on in Georgia sports world, but a lot going on as far as Masters Week and a lot along those lines. Russ, tell me what you like about round one.
Well, obviously the Masters is special because it's in our own state, down there in Augusta, which is, not too far from here. And I just really enjoy watching the best golfers play here, with the split of the tours and some golfers going to the LIV. It's fun watching them play. Obviously, I'm pulling more for the PGA guys because they're not all about money. But, you know, the the thing I saw today was a bunch of guys like Victor Hovland, a guy who I never thought would even be close to contention. I think that's awesome that he's up there showing what he can do and, really, really leading the Masters right now. Obviously got Rahm and somebody.
Brooks Koepka.
Brooks Koepka's tied with him. I don't even like Brooks Koepka. So, whatever. I hope he doesn't win. I'd rather anybody else but him win. Just because he's a mean guy.
How about Cameron Smith?
Cam Smith. I don't like that guy either. He's ugly.
Russ isn't a big fan.
I don't like the LIV guys. I already told you
ugly.
that.
Russ, if you playing for the LIV and you're listening to this, we're sorry. We're sorry about all the
You're
dissing.
probably not listening to this.
Probably sorry for all the dissing because old partner Russ just hates the live.
I don't
hates
like
the
him.
live tour.
Although I like Bubba Watson.
Russ, outside of the golf, outside of the Masters that's going on, UGA had their first spring scrimmage last Saturday. Tell me what you've heard. Tell me what you've seen. I'll start with what I've seen. Carson Beck, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Obviously, that's kind of that made me. I made that face, like like that doesn't sound good to me.
He threw 3 interceptions, but one of the articles I read said something about him, like he just looks like he's the guy when he's out there. I mean, no matter what he did out there, he looks like he has a presence, and I think that's good to have. Obviously we don't want 3 interceptions, but I think he'll improve as they keep scrimmaging and doing stuff like that.
I'm excited to see him play at G-Day. The guy I've heard all good things about is Brock Vandergriff. I haven't heard anything bad about him. I heard he played phenomenal in the scrimmage. I've heard he's looked great in practice. And I've heard, whoever starts, we don't know, and we're probably not going to know for a while, but whoever starts for this team next season is going to be the guy, and we just have to have trust in Kirby Smart and Mike Bobo because, 2 years ago, I don't know if you know this, Russ, but, JT Daniels got hurt, and they put in some walk-on, some guy, and everybody.
Before that, they put in Dewan Mathis.
Yeah, so. 2 years ago, everybody was talking about, like, who is this guy? What's he doing? And, and then JT Daniels came back, but they stayed with this walk-on who, and things seem to work out pretty well. 2 national championships and a Heisman finalist. So,
yeah, the only quarterback that I heard some kind of negative stuff on, just kind of, he's still learning, was Gunnar Stockton. Obviously, he's the younger guy, so he's still getting used to the system. But, as long as he keeps doing what he's doing and competing and learning and growing, I think he can make a run at quarterback.
Whatever Gunnar supposedly lacks at the quarterback position right now, I think he makes up for it with his competitive edge. Let's look back to the national title game prep week. Gunnar Stockton takes off his non-contact jersey to replicate the physicality of Max Duggan. That's a big deal. The game's a blowout, but to have a freshman who has no shot of getting in the ball game, who's barely making your dressing list, and yes, he's a high recruit, but for him to say, I'll put my body on the line for the betterment of the team as a freshman, not even in the real game in practice, that shows a lot about his character. That shows a lot about who he is as a football player and what his true values are, and I really like that.
Yeah, that's a good quality to have. What you want to talk? You want to talk about Braves?
Let's talk a little Braves baseball while we're at it. We're already on it. Braves looking at 5-1 right now. Obviously, everything's looking good. Everything's sunny. Everything's great. You know,
Tough
in the
series coming up though.
in the past, Russ. I mean, let's look at this team. They always start slow, dude. They're always slow, and then they end up around that 100 win mark, win the division. We've been blessed the last several years. They've won the division. Last year was obviously a great race for the divisional title, but this year this team came out hot, and this team, I don't know if there's a team out there better and more well-rounded, top to bottom, in their lineup than the Braves.
Yeah, I don't know. They're firing on all cylinders right now. You got a tough series coming up with the Padres, but I think it's going to be a pretty even series. To be honest with you, I could see them going 3-1 versus.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of baseball left. We're just getting started. The Max Fried injury is concerning, but thank goodness it's nothing too major. But I mean, the guys are swinging it right now. Austin Riley hit a home run the other day, 473 feet.
Yeah,
I mean, that's outrageous. Acuna swinging the bat well. You see him hit the leadoff home run the other day to start the game.
I did.
Yeah, he hit one out that Matt Olson came up behind him and hit it out. And I really, your lineup, I think Matt Olson's an MVP candidate this year. He's been, last year was his first year in Atlanta. You brought in Freddie Freeman left that season, so there's all this pressure and hype. Oh, who's this first baseman from Oakland? These are his stats. This is his WAR. This is all this. This is his OPS. And I think there's just so much pressure on him to perform and be Freddie Freeman. Well, he's not Freddie Freeman. He's Matt Olson. You know what, Russ? Matt Olson's pretty freaking good.
I think so too.
He's a great defensive first baseman. And Freddie was a great one, too. Freddie's the best first baseman in franchise history. No doubt. One of the greatest of this generation, this era. But Matt Olson's a great baseball player. Matt Olson can swing the bat really well. He's got a different stance. You'd think he wouldn't be able to hit pitches up and in the zone. But, I mean, he hits the ball well up and in. The shift's eliminated. So his numbers, I think he's my pick for this Braves team to be that MVP candidate. I think him and Acuna have a real shot at having MVP caliber seasons. And Austin Riley's right there with him. He's been that MVP caliber player the past couple of years.
Yeah, Austin Riley's my favorite guy on the team. He hits it a long way, and he's this big guy. He can sling it too. Let's just hope the Braves. They're peaking right now. Kind of. Let's just hope that they stay up and don't go down because they want to peak at the right time, obviously, which is farther down the line mostly.
They got to another thing about this team is health is a big issue for them. There's a lot of questions surrounding your rotation. Who's going to pick up that fifth spot? But you need your starters to be healthy to really kind of have an open door at that fifth spot. I think a lot of guys are going to pitch and start some ball games for this team. Russ?
Hold on. Do you think, what do you think about the Max Fried? Is that a huge hit or what?
I don't think it's a career-ending, gruesome injury, nothing like what Soroka went through. But I do think it's something to keep an eye on. Obviously, as a pitcher, everybody thinks, oh, your arm. No, there's a lot to do with your legs. If he's not comfortable on that hamstring, you can kiss his dominance goodbye. You can kiss everything that makes him a Cy Young caliber pitcher out the window. He's not. He needs to be 100% comfortable, 100% feel good with himself to pitch. And not only that, but to be able to get off the mound and play in the field because ground ball in the hole between first and second, Matt Olson goes over to get it. Who's covering the bag? It's Max Fried. If he can't get off the mound, then that's a hit.
Yeah.
He should be fine. I hope he is. This team needs him to make a run at another World Series, but right now he's on the 15-day injured list. I don't see this being a massive issue. I don't see this being something that haunts this team for the rest of the year. They have depth, and they're not seeming to struggle without him right now. Obviously, he can only pitch like 1 every 5 games, but still.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be back sooner rather than later. I really don't think that it's a huge injury, but for him to be on the IL is it's kind of a big hit to the team, in my opinion. It's a dominant guy out there.
Dominant left-hander. Left-handed pitchers are far and few between, and a dominant one, it's a great thing to have, and I'm really happy he's on that Braves team. There's a lot to be said about the way he pitches and what he's done for this team. Russ, a question about Georgia football. Obviously, the spring game's coming up. Name me a guy that you're most excited to see play in the spring game.
Let me. I really would say probably the quarterbacks. I know we've already talked about them, but that's really my main focus right now, and what I want to see. I want to see who's performing the best and who looks like they're the guy and who knows they're the guy.
I'm just looking for confidence.
Yeah.
I'm looking for, your quarterback. And frankly, for this team to win another title, this quarterback does not have to be a superstar. This defense is going to be loaded. Your offensive weapons are loaded. Your offensive line is loaded. There's talent all over the field. If you can just get the ball out, not turn the ball over, and you can look at Stetson Bennett's first year full-time starter, not this past season, but the year before that. He wasn't amazing. He wasn't going to wow you with anything. Now, yes, he made some great plays, and he had a great national title game. But all throughout that season, he really didn't have to do a whole lot because they really relied on their defense to win ball games, and no game was really close. And I think you're going to have that same type season this year, where people on the outside are going to call whichever quarterback starts. They're going to call him a game manager because he's not really going to get a chance to showcase his skills in a close ball game until late November. And I think that's something that, that we can kind of look forward to, that we can kind of be like, we got a little, because if this quarterback's a dog and you go in there and everybody's just kind of doubting him, kind of, I don't know. He may not be just kind of a game manager, and you get in a playoff game and he dominates, and that's just something else that you have to account for.
Yeah, I'm also excited to see what the receivers are looking like in terms of where they're playing and stuff like that. Obviously, I think Brock Bowers is inside with maybe McConkey in the slot or Ra Thomas maybe. Have you heard anything about Ra Thomas? He's practicing?
He's practicing. What I've heard is he has to be more dependable catching the football. I've heard there's been some issues dropping passes in traffic, and I'm not really worried about it. I think, maybe he's got jitters playing in a scrimmage, first time in the Georgia uniform, really kind of in front of everybody showcasing himself. I'm not too worried about it. A guy that I heard had a great scrimmage was Lawson Lucky, the freshman tight end. I heard, and man, thank goodness we need another tight end. We got the best tight end in America, Oscar Delp, who showcased his skills last year. Lawson Lucky. What's the other freshman?
I don't have
Pierce Spurlin. So those are two guys from last year, plus 2 4-stars, 2 of the highest rated tight ends in the class. We really needed this other tight end to just come out, but I saw a picture of it on Instagram, him just blowing past somebody, and that's really, the more the merrier.
I can tell you, we're gonna find a way for those guys to get on the field. If they can play, they're gonna be on the field.
The rich get richer sometimes. If you can play, you're gonna get on the field. What I loved about Todd Monken's offense was the fact that he used a lot of 13 personnel. 13 personnel means 3 tight ends in the ball game. And 13 personnel, really against any defense, any front, you can run the ball all over them because it's like having 3 extra offensive linemen almost. Well, it was with Darnell Washington. But 13 personnel, you can go run the ball all over somebody, but now you can drop back and pass because you have these. Brock Bowers is your best receiver. Oscar Delp's a great pass catcher. Lawson Lucky seems like a freak. So, it's pretty darn amazing. And now they may not be as dominant running the ball out of 13 personnel this season because another guy, John Fitzpatrick. He's graduated, but
Yeah.
I mean, 2 years ago you had Brock Bowers, John Fitzpatrick, and Darnell Washington blocking for you in 13 personnel. And John Fitzpatrick's a big dude.
Isn't he playing somewhere in the NFL? I can't remember.
I don't think he's in the NFL. I think he's in another league. There's so many.
He got
dogs.
drafted though, didn't he? I swear he got drafted.
Didn't he get drafted? Did he get drafted by the Falcons?
So, he did get drafted by the Falcons. That's right.
Look at me. If you ever got a question, just come ask me. I'm not picking a Masters winner today though, because whoever I pick, they're just gonna shoot a 84 tomorrow.
You know who actually one of our tight ends who's doing pretty good is Charlie Warner. I think he plays on the 49ers now.
Yeah,
and he gets a good bit of playing time. I see him on the TV sometimes.
One of the best Georgia receivers in the NFL is Lawrence Cager, who played like 4 games as a Bulldog. He transferred in from Miami, and then he played some big moments and got hurt. Never really was the same again. But I mean, he's arguably your best receiver in the NFL besides Pickens. I mean, who else really? Isaiah McKenzie's doing some stuff.
AJ Green.
He's out. He's
retired, but back in his prime.
Well, yeah,
he was the guy.
We can go back in prime.
Okay. Who did you say? Kyrus Jackson? Did you say not Kyrus?
Mecole Hardman. Isaiah Mecole Hardman.
He's on the Jets now, I think.
Yeah,
he got traded the other day.
The Legion of Zoom. That's what they call that Chiefs receiver room with Tyreek Hill, Mecole. I'm going blank day on names. Oh, Denard Robinson, the other receiver. I don't.
His Demarcus Robinson, I think.
Something.
Or Demarius.
One more. We're sorry about all this. Another question for you, Russ. One more before we go. Give me the first 5 quarterbacks drafted in the NFL draft in what order? You give me your list. I'll give you mine.
You kind of put me on the spot, and I'm not the best with names. But you mean this year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think Bryce Young goes first. C.J. Stroud second. Who else is there? Who else? Help me out now.
Anthony Richardson, Hendon Hooker, Will Levis.
I'd say Will Levis third, Anthony Richardson fourth, and who's the other guy you said?
Hendon Hooker.
I don't know about Hendon Hooker. I feel like he's like a 4th-round guy. I can't even think of quarterbacks right now. You done gave me a hard question. That's my 4. You tell me your 5.
C.J. Stroud goes number 1 to the Panthers. Bryce. Give me Levis. Anthony Richardson, Hooker. That's my list. Hendon Hooker's got a lot of hype building for him. Mike Rosenbaum said the other day something about him. He'd take him at 5 for the Seahawks. That just seems like just idiotic pick. You just signed Geno Wilson to extension. That's why he's a former NFL GM and not a GM right now, because he'd make a pick like that.
Yeah, you don't sign a guy to a big contract and then draft somebody right behind him. Although whoever they take is probably going to be a bit of a project, and I don't know that Geno Smith is a bad guy to be under to learn from, but I don't know that he's a great guy. So, that's an iffy pick. You got anything else?
That's going to be it for today's episode of Dawg Football Weekly. When do you think we'll be back, Russ?
Well, probably next week, maybe early or late this week.
All right, sounds good.